All right, and according to Google Hangouts, we are live. Today, we are going to begin an exploration journey through a new campaign that has been called for right now the Fall of Tumult, which is the homebrew world that me and these fine players have created. Thank you, everyone, for coming to join us and watching. I am the host, the DM for this session. My name is Josh. I am one half of RPG Enlightenment. And breaking news, I will also be 1/3 of the Dargon Gaming Squad coming the start of the year. You heard it here first. So I will let my players introduce themselves, plug anything they want, introduce their characters, and then we can kind of begin. So we can go ahead and start on my left, which would be Brandon.
Hey everyone, Brandon. I'm not from anything or anywhere, no special channels or anything like that, but I'll be playing Katra, the Kobold Rogue.
Awesome. And Cameron.
I'm Cameron, also not of anywhere in particular. I will be playing Gorch the Useless, a Goblin Warlock.
Awesome. And Carol.
Hi, I'm Carol. I don't have anything of my own really to plug, but everybody I think probably knows AbTab and all those great people there that support us all. I'm playing Nala, known as Sparky, the Goliath Barbarian. She should be a lot of fun.
And last but not least, Megan.
Hey guys, I'm Megan, and I'm one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, and today I will be playing a Tabaxi bard named Two River.
All right, so for those of you watching live, I will edit this actually into the video after, but I had some technical difficulties, but we can begin our story. As we begin, we start off inside a large mansion's banquet hall. Two dimly lit marble staircases meeting at the center of the ballroom, greeted with the lights of a crystal chandelier, decorated with the serenity of all lunar graces, basking in the angelic sounds of the music of the night, when suddenly the music screeches to a halt, all heads turning to meet the cause of the music's abrupt stop. They are greeted by a woman of magnificent beauty and grace, adorned with close-fitting emerald green dress. But even the dress was no match for her soft, elegant, white gold-trimmed wings. As she begins to walk down the stairs of this hall, the crowd just stares at her, silent. And as she gets to the bottom of the stairwell, she looks up, her eyes golden with hints of green, staring off at just the one man, as everyone stares back at her. She walks up to this man, nowhere near as finely dressed as she, but the mask that he wears is made of gold. The he wears fulfilled with all colors of peacock feathers. And as she reaches this man, the music begins to play, and they begin to dance. Lucian, at last, we are together. I have waited long for this moment. You wish to harness the source. I wish to help you in your goal. If you wish to harness the source, you will need to build the crystal device. You will build it. I will show you how. You will know when I have given you instructions. 5 companions have been summoned to your aid to ensure your success in this endeavor. Look for Nala True Blood of the Fiery Hair, Niken of Clan Baharush, a goblin known as Gorch the Useless, Katra, the Magic User, and a Tabaxi known as Two Rivers. Once it is built, you will need the final ingredient. It is precious and costly. Send these 5 companions to fetch it for you. You must obtain this ingredient. You must obtain the adamantine. When she says this, the adamantine, she whispers it right up against your ear, so you can feel her lips fluttering as she says it. Lucian almost begins to shake as the breath that expels from her lungs ever so softly brushes his ears.
My lady, may I have this dance?
Indeed, my sir. And she follows her escort away. And just as she gets a few feet away from him, she turns and looks over her shoulder. And she says, "Remember, they must fetch the adamantine." And she blows him a kiss and retreats with the other man. And all of a sudden, everything goes black. You see Lucian rising out of a bed in a cold, cold sweat. And he looks over to the other pillow on his bed. There lies a letter for him, sealed with the same kiss that he was once blown. And as he opens it, his eyes light up. And as his eyes light up, he hurries from the bed, out of the door. And now we'll move over to all of you. You all are in the Merchant's Eye of Satine, the capital city of the continent. You guys stand in the Merchant's Eye, staring at this building. A mage guild of all, standing 100 feet high. And atop that building is a large magical orb that floats on top. You all have been summoned here by Lucian. And at the doorway of this mage guild stands Lucian to greet you all. I take it you are the bunch that I have summoned here?
Nala just kind of looks at him. She doesn't really say too much. She kind of looks.
Katra will... Sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. She's just waiting for someone else to say something anyway.
So Katra is going to look back and forth, kind of to everyone standing here, eyeballing Nala, just being quite tall, and just look at him and say, "Yes, I Katra."
Ah, beautiful. Come, come. And he opens the door and has you all, for you all to walk through.
Nala will follow, but she'll have to duck her head and be a little careful so she doesn't bump it.
And as you guys enter, there's a stairway in the back right corner. You guys have entered the first level of this building, which appears to be a rather bustling tavern filled with people of both magically and not magical people. Against the back wall, there is a request board for people to put up missions and things that they need done. And Lucian begins to point at you guys to go to the back stairwell and kind of starts walking. And as you guys kind of go up the stairway, he pulls you guys all into what would appear to be his office area. And there's like test tubes and alchemy tables and ingredients scattered all over the place, and says, "Welcome, welcome. I didn't expect you all to look this way. Look like this."
Wow. And kind of like from the back, this cat would kind of like poke her head, maybe from beside Nala. She says, "Trial? You mean for us all to be so attractive, right?" Trial? And she kind of like starts eyeing these tubes, these test tubes and everything around there. Like it's going to be a new, like these things could be a new plaything.
Megan, I think there's something weird coming from your mic. It says drow every like 15 seconds.
Oh no. Okay, give me 1 minute.
he looks at you and chuckles, shaking his head like, yes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I mean, I didn't mean to offend if I did. And he begins to pull you guys closer and closer, and you see underneath a lot of other like ingredients and tools and things. There appears to be this mechanical thing kind of being formed. It has like stone rods coming out of it, and you can see in this that there is like a rectangular hole missing. Like there's this rectangle hole where something belongs in. And he begins to be like, well, so I know you guys have not ever met me, but I need your help. And if this works, it will make us all rich and powerful.
Knowledge is at 7'5", just looks down at him and says, if we help, we'll get paid whether we're rich or powerful or not, right?
Oh, yes, trust me. This device here, and he kind of moves over to this device and kind of like starts wiping away the like papers and things that kind of were covering it. This will make us all very rich. And you can kind of see he has kind of his back. He kind of is a little hunched over, his ears pointy. You guys notice that he's an elf. He appears to be almost insane to the average person, but he is probably 500 or 600 years old. So he's definitely been around for a while, probably even since the first notice of the source. And you guys would see on his like wooden table, like papers of spottings of where people have said that they had encountered like source mines.
So Katra is going to go over to his other table where he's got some other things sitting there. He's going to pick up something that looks interesting, start playing with it and tinkering with it, and then look over at him and say, "What do?" And kind of point to the device.
And upon him locking his eyes with you, he's like, "Put that down. That's important scientific discoveries. You must not touch. This will be the evolution of all of our races."
Katra will be kind of startled by that and quickly put whatever it was he was fiddling with down.
Now, all of you, I need all of you. I need all of you. And he kind of repeats it like a couple more times. I need you guys to go to Moldor. There's a dwarven city along the mountains to the east. I mean west. Well, kind of north. It's in the northwest. And he kind of pulls out like a rugged map, and there's only like forested regions here and there, and random colors that you guys can see kind of towards the top that you don't really know what they are. And so he points to a specific like mountain region and says, go here. And you will have to discuss it with the king. Adamantine. I never really gave you what you're supposed to be looking for, did I? I need you to get an adamantine ignet from the king. I mean, they sell it, but it's rather expensive, and I cannot afford that right now.
Well, Lucian, if you can't afford an adamantine ingot, how can you afford us? And what are you going to pay us? I'm not doing this without pay.
The large woman is right.
And some of that up front. Most of it.
This will be worth your weight in gold. But for now, this should help. And he puts down 5 pieces of gold on the table.
5 pieces of gold? You better do better than that.
Katra's going to quickly walk up and pocket the gold, if no one else makes any motion towards it.
Hey, we haven't agreed to do it yet. You probably shouldn't take that.
Well,
He'll be good for more.
Look, this is just the down payment for your service. Once you come back, there will be plenty more.
I won't even cover expenses.
You guys drive. You guys must. Oh. Surreal, what have you gotten me into? And he pulls out a little coin purse and says, fine. This should cover our expenses. And he throws them up, and it's about 10 pieces of gold for each of you.
That's more like it. And what do we get when we get back, even before your device works? I'm not working on spec. I'm working for real solid money.
This is only half of what I have for you. You bring me the Ignet, and believe me when I say this will pay over for you 3 times over. To be the first to increase your power by the source.
Two River wants to do an insight check on this guy, just to see how much of this is like genuine and how much of it is just blowing hot air up her butt. So that's a 17.
I mean, your description of what you're trying to do here. You can definitely tell he's not blowing things up your butt. But he seems very sincere, like almost as if he knows what he's doing, even though he has no idea at the same time. You can definitely tell based on the amount of equipment that is in this room that he's definitely spent a lot of time and money into this guild, and obviously it's a guild. They're not gonna, put up with him if he's, not worth the cost.
Okay, so he's like, yeah, super for this thing. Okay. Yeah, so Two River would just kind of look at him and then look at the party members.
Yeah, Nala's looking at the others too. What do you think?
Up until this point, Gorch has been kind of walking a slow circle around the room, just looking at everything, trying to take it all in. You guys keep hearing the clack of his crude staff hitting the floor every couple of steps. And the whole time he's been mumbling under his breath, like he's talking to somebody, but nobody else can hear him, and he's not talking loud enough that it's interrupting things or anybody can even understand what he's saying. But at this point, he'll turn and seemingly to the small crystal attached to the top of his staff, he'll say, "We do this? Power? Money? Might as well."
Ah, Surreal was true for you. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, well, go to the northwest of the city. You will have to go through the woods. and take the bridge over. But it should only be about a day and a half journey.
You said we needed to speak with the king?
Yes, yes.
After? What's the deal?
He is the keeper of the mine. And in order to gain access to the mine, you must go through him. I mean, as long as I get the Ignet, I don't care how you do it. Just get it to me.
So you're saying we can kill the king?
I mean, if that's what it comes down to, as long as I don't have to hear the details, do what you must.
Excellent.
I think we can get by without killing the king there, little one.
Yes, yes. I was just joking.
Ha ha. And to that, he kind of just like starts like, like maniacally laughing, but not really. And says, so you take job, yes?
I think it's acceptable to me. What about you all?
Katra do this, or Katra clan.
I got nothing better to do. Why not?
So then he passes one of you guys, whoever wants to take it, the little bootleg map that he has of the area. And he kind of points you. You walk out of the city and go through the woods. And there's only one set of woods, so realistically, you can't really miss it. And there's a bridge that goes over to essentially leading towards the mountain region.
If Nala sees the map, she will remember it. So if she just looks at it thoroughly, she has the feature wanderer where she can remember geography and places and things really well. So she goes over it for a couple of minutes and then offers it to someone else that might want it.
I think that Two Rivers would take it and just kind of looking at it, like their eyes just like darting around. Interesting. And then she would kind of hand it over to someone else and get out like a little book that she has. And just kind of start scribbling something down in her little book.
When Two Rivers passes it off, Gorch will kind of snatch it out of her paw and, okay, I keep. And he shoves it into a belt pouch. And he shoves it into one belt pouch, and then you guys notice a different pouch on his hip that is a bit bigger, and it almost seems to be squirming just a little bit, and his hand darts down into it, and he pulls out a grub and pops it in his mouth, and you guys hear him messily chewing as he starts scuttling his way toward the door.
We're eating that one, right?
You want? He reaches into his pouch and pulls out another. This one ends up being a worm, and he holds it up to you. I share.
And
I'm not sure if he was talking about your snacks.
we're just thank you. And like she would just kind of like pick up the worm and just like hold it, just like watching it wriggle. And when they turned to leave, she would just kind of like throw it behind her in the laboratory.
He looks over to both of you eating these grubs and creatures of the earth, and yuck. All right, bring me Ignatz. Where's Ignatz? And he kind of like pushes you out of his office and on your way. So you guys end up. Let me actually flip this around so that way. Oops. Well, actually, no, that was probably better. You guys end up back outside in the Merchant Square. And in case anybody was wondering, I kind of drew out what that would look like, or at least in my mind. And this is kind of how it is. So right here is where you guys actually is. This is the Blackstaff, and this is essentially the merchant's eye, because it's in the shape of an eye, right? Awesome. So essentially these are like little shops and markets, and as you guys kind of exit, the bustling of the town begins to kind of crack as the church bells, ring in the background, and everybody begins to fill the merchant's eye. It's almost like everything is rather timed. So did you guys want to go to any of the shops or anything, or are you guys going straight off into on your mission?
I think I'm good to go.
Same.
Yeah, I've got everything I need.
Having a little gold in her pocket, I could see Nala deciding that maybe she needs a hair clip for her brilliant red, unruly hair to try to keep it back out of her face.
And we do have a jewelry shop right here on the little merchant's tables.
And she just wants something simple that'll keep her hair more or less under control.
So you walk to the merchant tables and you hear, everyone haggling in the background for, lower prices and better prices. And on the table, you see a couple like hair clips that kind of spark your interest. One is that of, well, actually, why don't you describe the 2 or 3 hair clips that catch your eye?
Well, there's one that is just very basic worked metal, probably something fairly soft, nothing very expensive. And she kind of works it a little bit. It seems to clip fairly solidly. Might be made out of brass or something like that. She kind of likes that one. There's another one with some red stones in it. That's probably silver. And she really likes that one. She likes the sparkly red stones. There's another one with some blue stones. It's probably gold, and it looks really pretty expensive. And she's kind of like thinking, no, that's probably too much. And she looks at the one with the red stones and asks the merchant, how much is this one?
Aye, lass. That, my dear. Oh, man. I've had that for a long time. The story behind that is one... and then he kind of catches himself kind of going off into like a monologue. That'll only be 1 gold piece. That has been around the entire continent of Tumult.
What's wrong with it?
Oh, the tales. It was once owned by a great princess. But the princess went off and went with the stable boy. And he kind of like puts his hand on his head and kind of shakes his head at the idea. And when they were caught by a band of thieves, held captive against the king, but the king had no real care for his daughter now that she had lost her queen jewel.
She had no.
Go ahead.
She had no honor. Honor is important. The king was right. She pretends that she doesn't really care about that one and looks at the brass one. She says, "What do you want for that?" Simple. It will keep my hair under control, I think.
Yes.
Mass of red curly hair going every which way.
This was forged in the volcano. I don't know why I did that voice, but whatever. In the volcano, just east of here.
That was forged in some peasant's backyard. I'll give you a few silver for it.
15 silver.
I'll give you 50 silver if I can have that and the one with the red stones.
Tell you
They're
what,
probably just glass.
Tell you what, you pay me the gold, the single gold, and I'll throw in the brass.
And she stands up very tall, 7'5" and looks down at this merchant. And I think she'd like to actually maybe intimidate him a little bit if she could.
All right, you can sure try.
All fair in bargaining, right? I'll go 60 silver. And let's see. That's a total of 13.
And he looks up at you, dead in the eyes. Ha! I've dealt with worse than you. Have you ever dealt with a fiery dragon on a bad hair day?
I can't say that I have, but I'll bet you haven't either.
And he laughs. 75 silver.
She looks at that pretty one and she goes, "Deal." And she gets a gold piece out of her 10 gold. Hands that over for the hair clips and the change, I hope.
Oh, I thank you kindly for the tip. Oh.
No, there's no tipping. You give me the change or the deal's off and I want it back. I don't have.
And he kind of shrugs his shoulders and kind of like, it was worth a shot. And he kind of reaches into this little coin purse and passes you your change. And someone else catches his attention and he walks away to help them.
Well, she leaves the shop and is pulling her hair back with one hand and clipping it with the brass one and putting the other one in her bag. All right, I'm ready. Now I can see.
Awesome. And so as you guys leave the city, unless anybody wants to do anything in the city before we leave, you exit the city walls and they stand 20 to 30 feet tall in the air. It makes even Nala look small. And you see the woods that he was talking about just west of the city. And the sun is starting to go down by this point, but it's still not like dusk yet. There's still some time till nightfall. And as you guys kind of walk through this these woods, you come to the bridge. Everybody give me perception. I don't know how you rolled 16 plus. Are you trying to say that you rolled over 16? Insider. Okay. You begin Megan, you begin to notice the trees begin to move ever so gently, and next thing you know, you hear thumping. And as you guys turn, you are surrounded by living trees that have guarded this place for quite some time. That Lucian net failed to mention. Halt! Those who dare try. And it's almost as if it's just like very elongated as he talks. To cross this bridge must first go through us. And, you know, only you see these two tall, great white pines branching out with their branches covering the bridge, so that way you can't walk past.
My nails have been feeling quite dull lately, and these look like perfect scratching posts.
I was literally just typing that in the chat when you put said scratching post, so this is just hilarious to me. Is that what you want? Is a fight?
No, this was just an observation. And she would kind of look to the others and just kind of like shrug her shoulders. Trees. They can't take jokes. And
some might say we're even hard-headed.
well, what do you want then? For us to pass?
Well, what is it that you search for on the other side that brings you across the Queen's Bridge?
And Two Rivers would kind of look back to the other group like, do we tell them? Do we lie? Like, what they want to do?
Nala kind of shakes her head. No, she doesn't think it's necessarily a good idea to advertise our errand to everybody, since what we're going for is valuable. But she kind of looks at the goblin and the kobold as well.
Well, speak up.
Katra will take a step forward and just say, we go to Moldor. We see dwarf.
The dwarfs. You seek the dwarfs. Oh, such a vile creature that is. Always chopping down my fellow brethren. They killed my brother Ben. Do you go to war with the dwarfs?
Perhaps not. We do go to speak with the king, though. Nala has a great idea. Maybe if this is the Queen's Bridge, maybe you know, throwing names around would help. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . .
the king of the dwarfs now. And what do you see him for? Have you truly gone mad to see that imbecile of a man?
Well, we have a bit of a quest, but it's more of a private nature.
Oh, but we are...
His friend.
Well, it is either you are his friend or you are not.
Well, I don't know.
Okay,
I haven't
fine.
met him.
And Two Rivers would just say, okay, fine, you got us. We're going to kill him, but you can't tell anyone. It's top secret. But we trust you.
Nala starts to splutter just a little and then steps back, knowing that perhaps...
Are you trying to persuade, intimidate?
Well, deception, I think.
Deception? Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll that at advantage, seeing as that's what they probably want.
Yeah, that's a 24.
You almost made me spit my drink. And at oh man. And at that, you see them, like, I don't know if like living trees have eyes, but if they do, like their eyes would like open wider and wider at the sound, and the like bark that would be his mouth begins to like splinter and open, almost trying to crack a grin, but you can tell he's probably doing himself a little bit more harm than good, essentially ripping apart his own body. And his their branches begin to unweave from one another, that they have been kind of doing while you guys have been talking, blocking you guys. Essentially, at this point, you guys would notice that they've essentially been from the entry point of the bridge, kind of starting to wrap their branches around you to actually enclose you in. And all of that begins to kind of unravel. Oh, why didn't you say so in the first place?
Well, it's not something you really want to advertise.
Well, you see, I was in charge of guarding the princess at one point. So I must always be aware. And they kind of begin to step back a couple steps. And just as quickly as you had noticed them, you can't distinguish them between any of the other trees.
Nala whispers, I think we could have took him.
Roll me a dex.
That would be a total of 5.
And upon saying this, you feel a branch just fall on top of you. And it's a rather large branch, especially with how big you are. I don't say that it necessarily does damage, but at that point, you notice one of them kind of come out and like bend forward towards you. I heard that.
Just kind of gives him a dirty look and keeps walking.
All right, so are you guys going to cross the bridge? All right, I would hope so, but who knows?
Yeah. And as like...
Go off the rails. We're going somewhere else. No.
Yeah, no, we're just going to turn around now. And as like Two Rivers is crossing, she would kind of look around like at the trees, not really knowing where they are, but just like kind of like looking around, just like just like remember not to say anything.
The trees have ears, you know. You hear whispers like farther off in the distance back where they were at one point. So as you guys kind of cross over, you can see the mountains out in the distance where the general idea of or the general area where he said. And between you and there is a long journey at this point, you realize. And as the night begins to kind of drag out, you guys probably get about halfway there when dusk completely falls. Do you guys want to walk through the night, or are you going to make camp?
Well, Nala's gonna, I guess, look around. Yeah, she's kind of like, well, do you want to stop? I think we could make a camp under this tree well enough.
Yes, I agree. The night can be full of terrors. It'll be nice to have the light of the fire.
You're probably all right anyway, though. Can't you see pretty well in the dark?
Yes. But that doesn't mean I'm not afraid of it.
I'm not so much afraid, but I can't see too well in the dark.
All right, so you guys are going to make camp. Are you guys going to make a fire, or are you guys just going to sleep out without like any sort of heat source?
Without asking anyone, Katra will look around for a decent spot to set up camp and kind of start a fire going. Roll survival for that?
Yeah.
All right. It's a 19. So just looking for a nice spot where I can set up a fire and not get, like, basically not on top of a hill so everyone can see us. Someplace a little bit more hidden.
For the most part, from what you can kind of see around, it's pretty much a plain. With the 19, I'll say that you notice like some rock structures, like big rocks and stuff like that, that are kind of close together, not like super close, where you can kind of set up a fire without being noticed as much as you would if you just did it outright.
Okay, then Katra will go ahead and start setting up a fire, and he'll gather up some tinder and that, and you'll notice he actually gets a fire started without using his flint and tinder. He just kind of looks at it and kind of snaps his fingers a little bit and gets a fire going.
And Two Rivers will kind of look at him and just kind of like squint her eyes. It's an interesting trick.
What? Oh, yeah. Katra learned from book. And he'll, like, tap his backpack. I'm not supposed to, but I do.
And like just like kind of like a little bit of a grin would play across Two Rivers' face. Yes. Very interesting.
Gorch will plop himself down near the fire and start rubbing his feet a little bit. And he starts complaining. We walk a long way. My feet hurt. Why didn't your legs stop growing when they were supposed to? He directs that at Nala, seemingly blaming her for long strides.
She looks at him. Why did yours quit so soon?
I'm the right size.
Well, I'm the right size. You're just little.
All right. So is everybody going to sleep, or is someone taking watch?
I think that Two Rivers would volunteer to watch.
Gorch will volunteer to trade off with her.
I can take a morning watch, since I can't see as well in the dark. It starts to lighten up a little.
Well, I was going to say I was too, but apparently we're all going to take a watch.
I think we all could.
All right. So who's taking first? All right. So then give me a d20.
That is a 8.
Okay. On your watch, the crackling of the fire almost becomes soothing to your ears. The wind begins to howl as it goes through the plane that you guys are on, and kind of whistles as it moves through the cracks of the rocks that you guys have made camp around. The snores of your fellow compatriots coming through every so often, almost catching you off guard. But other than that, rather uneventful. So then, are you doing anything in your watch? Megan?
Yeah, Two Rivers would be writing in this little book that she has, and then occasionally looking up, kind of scanning everywhere, and then returning to this book that she has.
Awesome. So your watch is pretty much coming to a close. Now, how long of a watch are you taking? Are you going half the night and only waking one other person up, or?
I think that Two Rivers would get bored probably about 2 hours after she starts, or maybe even an hour after. And she would wake someone up, the next person who had volunteered. I think that was Gorch. And she'd be like, "Wake up. It's late and it's your turn."
He'll blearily open his eyes and look around. Okay. You go sleep now.
All right, so give me a d20.
12.
As the night prolongs, the moon begins to come out of the clouds. It's a full moon tonight. Give me a perception.
8.
All right. So you don't hear anything. But towards the end of your watch, I will say you begin to hear wood creaking in the like off in the distance. And that is the end of your watch. Who is next?
I'm assuming it's still dark out.
Yes, it would be probably close to midnight by now.
Then I'm going to go over and poke the kobold. Hey, get out. Your turn now.
And Katra will bolt up quickly and look around and look at you and, oh, okay, Katra left.
All right. Katra, give me a d20.
Before I do that, I'm going to go rummaging through packs.
Okay.
Would that be stealth or sleight of hand, or what should I roll for that?
Ooh, stealth.
Ooh. 22. Not necessarily looking to take anything, just seeing what there is.
All right, so whose pack are you looking through?
I'll start with Two Moons. Or sorry, Two River? Two River.
Two River, what's in your satchel?
There's a dagger, the book that she was writing in, some ink, a quill, some rope, a little bit of food.
Any small trinkety things?
Yeah, a small locket that is kind of, when silver gets all like weird and gross if it's like old.
Tarnished?
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's on the outside and it's really scratched.
Katra will eyeball that and try to open it.
And if you were to open it, there'd just be this very small, smooth, almost obsidian stone, like a little pebble.
Is it like attached to it, or is it just in?
No, it's just free it's just held in by the clasp.
Katra will kind of take and like play with the hinge a little bit, and like open, close it, open, close it, open, close it a couple times, then clasp it and put it back.
Now, Megan, did you want to roll something to try to see if you would hear this? Would that be perception, passive? Would that be passive perception?
I don't know. I'm sleeping. I don't think that that Two Rivers would wake up, to be honest. She's probably a pretty sound sleeper.
Okay. Just one, give you room to catch him in the act, that's all.
Then I'll go ahead and roll, was it perception then?
Just a d20.
19?
Mm-hmm. So the same kind of wood breaking, you hear it, you actually hear it. It's a lot closer than when you first woke up. And over the rocks, you begin to see vines breaking across the rocks, and then you see a blight beginning to form from it.
Like blight is in like a twig blight?
The vine blight.
Okay. The player question, not character, or not a character question. All right. Seeing that, are these generally hostile? Would Katra know that?
Would Katra know that?
Katra's proficient with survival. Katra might know that.
You want to roll an insight?
Sure. 21?
Yeah, you realize it. You know that they are very territorial. And if you are interfering in their like growth areas, especially necessarily burning something in their growth areas, they get very territorial.
Safe to assume we're probably in its growth area, and I made a fire. I'm going to reach into my pack and grab out my bell and start ringing it really loudly to try and wake everyone up.
All right. Everyone, do you wake up to his bell sounding?
Yes.
I think that sorry, what was your character's name?
Katra is the...
Yep.
The kobold, yeah, Katra, okay.
Katra the kobold.
I think that Katra would feel a huge weight just bombard into him. I don't know how he would react to that, but how I kind of want it is I want Two Rivers to like kind of try to pin him.
Oh, grapple.
Do you speak
Yeah.
Draconic by chance?
Do I speak?
Draconic?
No, I do not.
All right, then when you do that, Katra's going to yip and yell something that you don't understand.
And
yeah, you'll pin him.
okay, yeah, she would just like look at you like the eyes just like glowing in the fire. What was that for?
And at this, the vine will begin to start to wrap around Two Rivers' legs. Just throwing that out there.
And of course, in all of this hubbub, Nala would definitely wake up. She just kind of jumps up on her feet, grabs her great axe, and starts looking around like, what's going on?
I don't know if Two Rivers would even notice. Like, she's like really angry at being woken up so abruptly. She's like, somebody better be dying. And she wouldn't even notice that these vines are just like wrapping around her legs, I think, until like they did something.
But Nala's like, Two Rivers, look behind you.
She's kind of
All
like,
Katra's going to say is, vines, vines, vines.
All right, and at this, the vine sprout technically is going to use entangle, so everybody has to do within a 15-foot radius, has to do a DC 12 strength saving throw. And I'm really hoping everybody, or at least one person, does not. Okay, at least one person does not.
I got a nat 1.
Oh, God. Okay. That makes sense. It was already technically grabbing you, but... All right. So essentially 3 of the players are completely restrained.
However, the one who's left standing with the great axe is Nala.
And for you, Two River, the vine, essentially the vines will have actually began to grip harder and harder onto your leg the more it wrapped around your leg. So you're going to take 1d6 damage and 5 points of damage. And it's definitely going to take a day or two for that to completely heal, so your speed is reduced by 5. and everybody can roll for initiative. Oh, wait, I should probably roll for the vine sprout now, shouldn't I? All right. All right, so 19, 19, 5, 5, 10. All right, so who has the higher, or what's your initiative mod?
Mine is
Megan
+3.
Same.
I'll say that he can go first because I'm trapped in a vine.
Okay, yeah, that's also true.
Um,
Well, at this point, I think the only real thing that you can do is a strength check to try to get out, right? Once you're restrained. Yeah, a creature can use its action to make a DC 12 strength check, freeing itself or another entangled creature within reach on a success.
Are they able to cast magic while restrained? I don't know.
I think if there's a vocal only a vocal component, but if you need like hand gestures or like a like an actual material component, I don't think that would be.
I think it's kind of up to the DM whether like their hands are also bound.
That's also true.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
are
the
they bound or just the legs?
condition simply drops their speed to 0 and advantage against them. Their attack rolls have disadvantage, and they're at disadvantage on dex saves.
Yeah, so I think that would be like a DM call, because that would be completely reasonable to say, yeah, your hands are bound, or no, they're not. I think.
I'd say that they're bound, especially with the fact that you guys were sleeping at the time. I'm sure I got a good grasp.
Okay, and Gorge is just going to attempt to wriggle his way out. So actually, there's a question. Does it need to be strength, or can he try to actually wriggle his way out rather than break the vines?
Are you doing this to see what modifier you would use, or?
Pretty much.
If you can describe it to me how you would get out, if you get out a different way, then I will allow it.
I mean, mostly Gorch is just going to, rather than trying to break the vines, because they've already grabbed him and he can feel how tight he's held. I mean, he's a tiny little guy. He's not expecting he's going to be able to snap these things like Nala could. So he's going to more try to slip his way out of them, contorting joints or whatever, more to slip through what might have, if his arm's grabbed, he's going to try to slip his arm back out of it rather than snap the vines apart.
All right, then I guess we'll change it from a strength to a dex. If
Okay.
that.
Let's see. My dex is +3. That gives me an 11.
It's still a 12, so you're still gonna be. You were able to kind of wiggle like a hand out, but I'd say that's probably about all you were able to kind of wiggle out.
Okay.
Megan.
Yeah, Two Rivers is going to struggle against these vines, just like, ugh, let me go, you stupid. Ah. I think at this point she's just gonna try straight strength.
Okay.
I think it actually tightens the bond further with her wriggling because of how badly she did.
How bad did she do?
Another nat 1.
Are you? All right, I'm not trying to have a total TPK like with a challenge half like creature. All right, so you're gonna take another d6 worth of damage as the vines just become stricter, and it's 5 points of damage. You die, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Well, technically, that's not dead, right? Isn't it bleeding out? Death saved?
Yeah. Yeah, she's unconscious, but even still, this is a challenge half like monster. I figured 4 level 1s would be able to take care of it, no problem.
Well, we're not done. We're not done. Give us time. We've got quite a bit of time left.
Nala needs to go still.
Yeah, wait till Nala goes. Maybe she can actually do something. Of course, my luck, no, but we can hope.
True. So as the vines kind of grasp her tighter and tighter, as the vines feel the heartbeat stop, the vines begin to unravel themselves. So technically you're unconscious, but you're no longer entangled. Because I really feel bad if I just kill you.
You got to do what you got to do. It's all in the dice.
I know. All right,
Let
so
it roll it and see what happens.
Yeah, that's true. Let me roll a d4 and see who it goes after. And if it goes after 4, okay, 2. So Cameron, the goblin, Gorch. Oh, Gorch. Is going to use Constrict on you, which is at advantage, seeing as you're still grappled. I don't have to. Nat 20 on the first roll.
Lovely.
So that's double damage, right? Which would be, I'm just going to use average and say that's 18 points of damage. And you're grappled even more.
And entirely limp.
All right, so then Carol, would you care to save the rest of the party? Or are you going to run away and leave everybody behind? Like, screw you all, bye-bye.
Nala's getting mad. Nala's pissed off that this vine would come and attack her friends. And you can look at her and you'll see her hair starts to glow even redder and redder. It almost even sparks in the dark. It almost, you can actually almost see it start to stand out from her head more, spark, and she just swings her big old two-handed axe and she's going to attack it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let's see. For a total of 18.
To hit, that'll hit.
And that will do a total of 4 slashing damage. That could have been better, but it could have been worse.
Did you use your rage die too?
Oh no, I forgot. I'm sorry, I haven't played a barb for a long time. What is my rage dice? Why do I not have it right here somewhere? Okay, rage.
Isn't rage an extra d6?
Yeah, it is. It's a good thing. Oh, okay, they make that 3 more.
So 7 total?
Yeah. So 7 points of damage to the vine.
All right, awesome.
Maybe I'll get mad and attack her.
And Brandon. Or Katra.
All right. How close am I to the blight?
I mean, it's kind of branched out. Didn't. And I'd say it's at least within a move action, or at most within a move action. I'd say probably 10 to 15 feet, maybe.
Okay. Katra's gonna pull out one of his daggers and throw it at the blight.
Okay.
Now, Nala's within 5 feet of it. I have pack tactics, so I should get advantage on the attack, but I have disadvantage, so it just cancels out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That would just
Okay.
cancel out.
All right, so just a straight attack. Nat 20.
All right, so I'd say that with that of a roll, so you have one of two options because you're still technically constrained. Technically.
Mhm.
You can either break out of your bonds because of it or do the double damage.
Do the double damage.
Okay.
Now it's double die roll, right?
I usually double die. That's fine.
Okay, that's 7 plus sneak attack. 13.
I didn't. You cut out what?
Oh, 13 damage. Sneak
Okay.
attack.
13. Awesome. All right, so then next would be Cameron.
Cameron is going to make a death save. I got a 15. So I think that's a success.
That is a success. And it is not looking good at all. The vines are starting to break apart. Megan, you want to give me your first death saving throw?
That's a 19.
20 is automatically stable, right?
Yeah.
Or isn't it? Okay, so
20 is auto stable, but I pass.
yeah, so you at least passed your first. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so now it's the Vine Blight, which is not looking good at all. And it's going to go after Katra after having the dagger thrown straight into it. It begins to, like, the water that, like, builds up in its vines kind of, like, oozes out something like blood. And it's going to try to hit. Let's see, what's its plus to hitting? +4, so 16 to hit.
That will hit. I'm not using my shield.
Katra, not
I thought
Nala.
I thought you said Nala. I thought maybe he'd be pissed off at me, but I can.
Seeing that, it will hit, but as a reaction, I'm going to use a spell. And
Okay.
I'm going to cast Shield. So I increase my AC by 5, so I have a 19 for one
So
turn.
then it'll miss.
Yep.
All right, so let's see who's up next. If someone wants to help me out here,
I think me. I think I went.
Yeah, that would be you, Carol.
All right. So Nala spins her great axe around again in both hands and chops at this thing close to its roots, I guess. And it was 17 to hit. I assume that hits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for a total of 6 damage, including the rage dice.
6 is exactly what it had left. So describe how you chop this thing apart.
All right, so this big old axe just cuts the base right off the vine, so it no longer has any way to intake any liquids or nutrients, and the liquids just gush out of the base of it, and it just kind of goes limp and starts to fall apart. All of its sap running off into the ground.
Awesome. So essentially, you have one party member down, and yeah.
Well, we
You
can
guys-
stabilize our party member then.
All right. So did you want to use natural means of stabilization?
I think you can just just go and stop the bleeding or whatever and stabilize someone once there's no fighting going on. If I understand correctly, the game just assumes that you can do what you need to. I don't have a med kit to try to do any, bring back any hit points or anything, but we could keep her from bleeding, having to take more death saving.
So I'll say that you use probably some of the very vines that had wrapped her up, and use some of maybe the fire and some of that to kind of seal up any cuts or whatever from
yeah, I probably have some bandages in my backpack, maybe a corner of one of my big t-shirts, which would be relatively clean this early in the campaign. And I could wrap it up with that, maybe tie it on with a vine. And do we have one person down or two?
Two. Gordon's down as well.
2, okay. Well, then obviously.
Well, while you're doing that, I was going to say Katra's going to walk right past you, ignoring Two River, and help his fellow small folk.
Yeah, how big is the kobold anyway?
I am a whole 3 foot 5 inches.
Oh, okay. I was picturing you as a little larger, so.
Nope. So yeah, I'll say
you're all the same to Nala.
Shorter. I'll get out my water skin and use that to kind of splash some water in your face and get you up and at it.
Oh yeah, good thought.
Well, awesome. So everyone is at least stable. I'd say, especially with what's going on, maybe even back with at least a hit point or so.
Yeah, are we conscious?
Yeah, I'd say you're conscious now. Yeah.
What does that take? Like a short rest to regain consciousness normally?
Yeah, I mean, this technically happened in the middle of the night, so it's not even dawn. And
I guess Nala's gonna stay up and watch after this. After she's kind of helped stabilize people. Even though she can't see much, she can hear and pay attention.
Mm-hmm. The joys of fighting at night. All right, so everyone is essentially all right. So treat this as a short rest throughout the rest of the night. For those who want to expend whatever they want to expend, they can. We've been playing for about an hour and a half. Did anybody need to take a break? All right, so we will take a quick 5-minute break or so, and we shall all be back shortly. thank you everyone for coming out to watch. It means a lot. This has been a very interesting first session. So yeah. Oh yay, people are coming back.
Did you think we were going to run away?
I mean, after that, yeah, probably.
No, that was a really good fight. In a good fight, you got to have at least one player down. Otherwise, there's no challenge, man. I'm just glad it wasn't me.
I figured it would have been so ironic if it was you, considering.
It would have been pretty funny, wouldn't it?
The big muscle guy is the one that goes down, and everybody else is the one that was alive and kicking.
That would be hilarious. I'm sure it'll happen at one point or another.
So how are you guys enjoying it so far?
I'm having fun. I think this is going to be a fun campaign.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And you're doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
I figured I would throw... I'm glad I didn't do the other thing that I was planning on throwing at you, because that would have been a CR2. I figured with 4 CR1s, the CR2 would go by no problem.
No, the CR should be roughly equal to the level of the adventurers. The CR2 would be deadly, especially at level 1.
Yeah, I figured, which is why I didn't. So I did a CR half. And
well, when you add in
went
us
down.
being asleep and being taken by surprise,
Yeah, it evens out.
that makes it a harder encounter. So that would actually work out really well.
Yeah.
If I was running the game, I would have felt that would have been perfect. Now, if you start losing people for good, then it would have been sad.
Yeah, first session,
But
end
really,
of the campaign.
With 3 chances, and it's not really one of those like, okay, we're out to, deadly type of campaigns. So it's just about right. I think I'm off and down on the first session, but at level 1. Somebody's always down at level 1.
That's also true.
You just don't have a lot of
This
hit
is the
points.
second session. Oh.
This is the first session of actually playing. We just made up our crazy.
Oh, the microscope.
Yeah, that was our crazy game for the last one.
Yeah, and that microscope was very broad and so like hard to try to define certain things. But it'll be interesting to see how things play out.
I was a little nervous because it is a very unusual conglomeration of ideas. And you're like, how is that going to fit together? But I can see that we're going to work together well, so then the rest of that will be fine.
Yeah,
as long as the players work together and the DM, kind of have that synergy, it'll be great. We haven't even started to hit our stride, so.
I should probably grab my bag of chips. You're making me hungry, Megan.
Sorry, I have a few nuts.
Oh, it's not even you, Carol. Megan's sitting there eating pizza without
Eating my
me.
pizza.
Megan should know that pizza is like my favorite food.
I know, I was so hungry, I was like, I need food now.
We don't know what the other 2 are eating.
Yeah, they have been gone for a little while.
Well, I figure if things go halfway well at all, as far as actual physical warrior strength between the barbarian and the rogue, we've got a pretty good, we've got me for the meat shield. We've got the rogue to sit back there and toss his knives or whatever and do those horrific, murderous sneak attack things. Then the other 2 to do their spells and their buffings and whatever. I think that's a really good mix.
What do you think, Brandon?
Surprisingly exciting for a very simple encounter, but fun.
Oh, hey, Cameron's back.
I can't wait to go out and go full on barbarian a level, at least a level or two up from here. My
Yeah,
great
that would be interesting.
mishmash, murder, and mutilate.
So I will admit we are a little bit farther than I had initially planned for. So a lot of this will probably end up being ad-libbed.
Do you need us to stall for time? We can stall for time.
Oh man, we could role play for an extra hour or two easy.
We could always do a bunch of Gorch searching for new bugs to put in his pouch.
I've got to have it out with the cat folk here.
What, you don't like the cat folk?
She jumped me. I was trying to do a good thing.
Well, you woke her up. What do you expect?
Well, good job.
You know better than to scare a cat. Scaring cats is a very bad thing.
He does now.
I'm sitting on my couch right now. I've got 3 cats around me. I know.
Just put a cucumber by one of them. That'll be fun.
I've actually got half of a cucumber left in the fridge.
And watch the magic. I'm going to go grab another Coke because I want another drink. And then I'll be right back and then we can get back into it.
All right. I think it was absolutely brilliant that our kitty was so busy being pissed off and grappling that she didn't even notice the vine was attacking her. I thought that was great.
And then I almost died.
Perfect. Uh-oh. I didn't mean to do that. I love Tabaxi. I love having Tabaxi in the game. I like playing them.
They're cool. I've never played them, but I was in one game with one of them, and he played it so well. I was like, "This is so cool. I love this."
I was in a game with my granddaughter, who was I think 11 at the time, maybe 12, and she played a Tabaxi Bard, and she had so much fun with that, and she was hilarious. I mean, it was just great. We'd be doing things, and she'd go darting after butterflies, and she played it right up to the hilt. That was a really fun character. And then after that, I've always wanted to play Tabaxis. I played a Tabaxi monk in a one-shot. Oh my gosh, he had 1,500 attacks and stuff. I haven't played monks before. And it was hilarious. It was so much fun.
All right.
Do a little bit of Tabaxi roleplay and interacting with them.
All right, so anything for me before we begin the next half?
I like the way you're staring at your drink.
It's like,
oh look, we got a grub in our drink now too.
That's
Is there
exactly
one
what
in
I
there?
thought. I actually have been meaning to buy the bottle of tequila that has the scorpion in the bottom.
Sure fun.
Oh yeah. Oh, see, the person who finishes the bottle actually has to eat the scorpion.
Did you hear there's a bar that serves a toe in their drink?
Yes, I saw that. It's a petrified human toe.
Ugh.
So then you take the drink. I think so you take the drink, and if you drink the liquid from the toe, you get something for it. Or if you eat it, you get something more. It's weird. It's a weird little situation there. Let me put that over there, so that way I don't accidentally wet it. All right, so let's get back into the story. Did everybody do the short rest statistic ads for those who needed it?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I ate my hit die already.
Now, I'm assuming after that, those of you who have armor slept in it.
I don't need no armor. Armor's for wussies.
No, I know the barbarian didn't, but did our tabaxi or our kobold or goblin?
Yep.
Oh, rage damage is actually just a flat +2. By the way, at this level.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a sneak attack that's a 1d6. That's all right. I never got more than 2 for it.
True. So for those,
I only rolled a 1 on the rage dice last time. So I'd gotten 1 more point of damage.
It's like, I don't know these people, but I'm infuriated that they would attack. So I'm kind of mad, but not really.
Awful lot. She's pretty red-haired.
For those who wore armor, though, you are going to take 1 level of exhaustion from wearing armor in your sleep. It was not a very peaceful night's rest. You wake up and you're rather sore and in rather bit of agony after that fight and sleeping in your armor. But the rest of the night doesn't seem to be any, it appears to be pretty quiet. And as you guys wake up, you wake up by the light of the sunrise. As the shadows that were once granting you the privilege of sleep begin to fade and the light consumes the irises, it wakes you guys up naturally. And as you guys kind of get up and whatnot, you guys do see a deer off in the distance. Not like super far in the distance, but, close enough. And you guys can do what you will.
I think that maybe Two Rivers might be one of the first ones to she would kind of like stretch and kind of like have this like expression of like, oh, I'm really like, oh, and like a cat does, she would like arch her back up and like her tail just like twitches, and she sees the deer and like immediately her ears would like perk up and she'd begin to get into that low like hunch that cats do when they're stalking. And she would slowly kind of stalk towards the deer.
Okay. Now, are you trying to leave this as strictly like theater sense, or you actually go for it?
I actually want to try to kill it, so can I roll like stealth?
Yeah, go ahead and roll stealth.
Okay. So that's a 14.
Yeah. You're able to stealth it.
Okay. And so she would kind of get up to it and like have her dagger kind of at her side. And she's going to pounce on it and try to like put her claws like into its haunches.
All right, so roll an attack, I guess.
That's a 16.
Yeah.
Okay. It only does 1 point of damage, but She wants
We'll
to try
just
and
say
like,
for theater purposes, you can describe the struggle, but you'll be able to kill it, just so that way it doesn't drag out.
yeah. So she would just kind of like hold on to its haunches and kind of crawl up it while it's kind of running and maybe bucking, and she would take her knife and just like slit its throat and then drag it back to camp very triumphantly.
By then, with all that ruckus, Nala would have woken up. I guess she's not a real heavy sleeper compared to some people. And she said, "Good job, little one. Well done." And she will help you start to, cut it open and skin it and all that. And we can wrap up extra meat and just put it in Nala's pack. She can carry half again as much as anybody else, probably twice as much as anybody else in this group. But they'll be, it's like, oh, venison for breakfast. Very well done. She starts the fire.
Yes, I thought it would be better than these stale pieces of bread rations. Ugh.
I agree. Hardly fit to eat, but I guess something to keep you going if you must.
You know, I had the strangest dream last night. I dreamt that we were all attacked by a plant.
We were.
Wait, that wasn't a dream?
No, that wasn't a dream. We all dreamed it together.
With that, Katra will roll over on his pack or on his sleeping bag and look over at you and go, "Yes." And you attacked some of us.
I am not responsible for what I do if you wake me up. I thought that was in the contract you all signed.
I don't remember signing that one myself.
Katra signed no contract.
And at this, all kind of, going bickering back and forth, Megan, you would notice that the areas that were attacked, maybe even broken or scarred, there's nothing there. This all was but a dream. And everyone is essentially just suffered the consequences of sleeping in their armor. And for the barbarian, the snores, he heard them in his sleep.
And probably the loudest were her own.
You all simply shared the same dream, apparently.
You might have trouble convincing Nala. She's a very literal person. She's like, how could it be a dream? Where did the plant go? I was there.
So there's like no evidence of the fight at all.
Absolutely none.
No injuries, just tired people.
No injuries, just tired, achy people. I mean, like the points of which got severely hurt, for those of you who ended up dying, probably hurt a little bit more, but there's no actual lacerations or cuts or broken bones or anything that would have distinguished an actual fight occurring.
Oh, this is a bad omen.
I don't care.
Not bad omen. Just bad 2 grubs before bed.
I don't often have dreams like that. In fact, I've never had dreams like that. I don't like it.
All right. So do you guys head on towards the town or the Moldor? All right.
Before we go, just real quick, Nala's going to go out and collect water and maybe some fruit and berries and, just that kind of thing. Normally she might do some small game too. These are all within her natural feature as a wanderer, along with being able to know where she is. But as long as there's reasonable fertile land around, she'll be able to find food and water for the group. Although I don't know that the Tabaxis can be too excited about the berries, but you know how it is.
Yeah.
And she failed to gather grubs. Like, what can I say?
And you're able to do so. I'd say as far as water is concerned, it does take you a little bit longer to try to find, especially being in such a open area. But you're able to get at least enough for the rest of the journey to Moldor. So as you guys walk, you guys are walking, and you guys are walking down, up and down hills, and there are patches of like desert region where the heat, just for whatever reason, is a lot stronger in those areas.
Oh. Could I offer to give the small folk a ride?
You very much so could.
After we walk for a while and it's starting to get hot and they're a little slow, Nala's like, 2 little ones. You're not much. Do you want to ride?
Thank you, but Katra walk.
Fun. You can sit on my shoulders and have a nice view.
I will.
All right. So she slings him up on her left shoulder. Or, he can hang on to the straps of her shirt if he needs to hang on to something.
And so I almost imagine like you put like your arm down and like he just climbs it, like rotating all the way around until he gets up to your shoulder and just sitting there on your shoulder. Just like the bugs that he eats. Am I wrong in saying so?
Just don't drop any of those in my hair and we'll be fine.
Oh, I won't. They're too yummy. I don't want to drop them.
There you go.
So as you guys continue to walk, I almost imagine that Gertch is like eating, just looking around, probably shoving like a grub or two in front of Nala's face, to offering one to her for a ride.
Nala actually takes those things pretty much in stride. She's eaten whatever she's had to eat out in the wilderness, and she's not that bothered by it. She's a survivor.
And I almost picture it like those movies where you're walking through the Sahara, or like where they're walking through the desert, and then they just show like the different like sun placements in the sky, and like keep going between the people and the sun, and then you guys reach the top of a hill. And below you begin to see this city of sorts, and you can hear from this distance, from it being in kind of down in like the plain, the bustling and a lot of noise coming from the city. Are you guys gonna continue or say anything, or?
So, Yeah, Nala's gonna stop and look at her companions. Well, what do you think? Should we just go on in? Look for the king? Look for an inn and clean up a little? She kind of looks at her dirty clothes.
Yes, there are more than one of us who need a bath. And she kind of looked towards like the two littler ones and just kind of like crinkle her nose.
Katra will flick his tail and, well, in first, then find out how we should see King.
Yeah, better not to annoy the king when we ask a boon of him.
So as you guys kind of walk closer to this, you're almost at the gates of the city. And the walls of the city that enclose it are so well defined. It's been carved almost as if it was made from one single like stone. Like you cannot tell where like the two walls are connected or anything. Like it literally looks like it was, I guess in this instance, like a mountain, and the dwarves simply came and carved their city into it. I don't know if anyone it has anything to do with like that type of stuff, but it looks phenomenal. And as you reach the city gates, stands two dwarven guards, one on each side of the gate. The doors of the city are closed. What are you guys doing?
I think before Two Rivers would kind of look at this like ragtag group of people. Just let us in?
Well, we can ask.
Okay, I don't know that much about dwarves, so I don't know. You're short, so maybe you should talk.
Do you think that might offend them?
Oh.
I don't know. I was thinking you might be better. I have no idea. Bella just laughs.
We'll see if they are inclined to speak to a feline.
Well, if nothing else, I guess they love their money. We'll probably bribe our way in if we have to.
Yes.
Let's do that, though.
Hmm.
Start by just asking. You can tell them what you told those tree people. That'll get us in. And she laughs again.
And Two Rivers would kind of look at you, just, you think so?
It's a joke.
Just totally serious.
Rivers, it's a joke.
Okay. Right up. To the guards.
Halt! Who goes there?
Well, we are 4 travelers who wish to take part in the various activities that this grand city has to offer.
The only way of getting into the city is by royal decree.
So you would turn away much coin to spend.
You must obviously not know what dwells in the city and why the city is along the great Twin Mountains.
Rocks?
And at this, it's almost like he becomes very disappointed. His face dropping rather small. We do so much for this continent, and yet no one understands.
Well, I mean, if you were to let more people in, word would get out of what actually happens behind here. I just so happen to be a storyteller.
A storyteller. What story do you have to tell me to let you in?
How about the story of us, these brave travelers and I, have fought this creature so horrendously last night. It had as many eyes as it looked at us, but we conquered it. Defeated this vile beast that was in fact heading towards the city. And so you should hail us as heroes. And have conquered this great beast. And I just so happen to have recorded it in this book to those who hail us as heroes at home. And if you would let us so pass, I would be more than happy to write of the splendor and wonder of the city in this book for those who appreciate what has been done and to appreciate that this city has helped these heroes. They're heroes.
Roll me performance.
I got a 21.
And you'd see, and yeah, you're right. I thought it and didn't say it, Carol. You can get a point of inspiration for that. I just forgot to say it. And you'd see this small, very kind of dwarf that's very serious about everything, as his face kind of looks at you, his eyes widening, his eyes turning almost into pools of tears as they kind of run down his face. And you can see the other guard take the back of his axe and just whack him in the back. Get your together. Well, this is gonna take another 3 days to get him over. Just get in and leave us the hell alone. And
a little bow. Thank you, kind sirs.
And the dwarves will just, huh?
And then she'll follow Tabaxi when she goes in.
And the one who wasn't in tears kind of just looks up at the top and just kind of waves his hand, and you can hear the cranking as the doors begin to essentially be parted. And once the doors are completely open, you can see a gorgeous city. Think of that feeling that you get when you go into like a very big city that you've never been to, that awe of like looking around at all of this. The buildings smooth, made of gold and silver, laced with the adamantine, which is a very, I guess technically, if you meta game here for a second, is a very, very rare metal that you can only find in this city, which is why it's under, like, not many people know too much about it. And I would say it's almost no question as to where the king's throne room, or like his castle, is. Like, it's the, like, probably one of the only buildings that are almost completely made of adamantine, lined with gold and purple and stuff like that. So you'd be able to see it from where you are, but it's off in the distance. And I don't know, I kind of think this would be a pretty decent point to kind of end it in the awe and glory of the city. I mean, we can continue to play. I just feel it's a good closing point. Everyone okay with that?
Yeah, that would actually work out well for me.
Yep.
Here.
All right. So this has been the first session of the Fall of Tumult, the beginnings of a new. Thank you, everyone who watches this. This has been a pleasure and a blast. Did anyone want to give an outro? No? All right. Well, thank you so much for watching RPG Enlightenment. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming out in the up and coming year. The remaining portions of this campaign, as well as a couple of other campaigns, and some collaboration videos between RPG Enlightenment and the Dargon Gaming Squad. Thank you, everyone, for coming to watch. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We will be your go-to in the up and coming year for everything RPG, as we here at RPG Enlightenment journey towards our own gaming enlightenment. Good night, sweet, tight, and have a beautiful rest of your day.